Hello guys and welcome to another Couchisode. Blade, tell us what is going to happen today.
Well, today we're just going simply to deal the cards and just slide away. So stick around, we'll be right back.
Welcome back guys to another Couchisode. We hope that you had a great week and we are back once again for that weekly dose of old and mold, like we usually say.
A lot of mold, yeah.
Exactly, and we're going to kick right off with a game from the arcades called Galaxy Force from 1988. This was for the arcades, as I just mentioned. It was developed and published by Sega. So another game that I recently played in the Krakow Arcade Museum, and the best thing about is that I played it on the full-size motion simulator cockpit arcade cabinet, which was similar to the ones that we've seen in Space Harrier, Afterburner and Thunderblade. Actually, if you guys want to see what's a similar cabinet of that, if you watch the movie The Terminator 2, the arcade, the Afterburner arcade that John Connor is playing when he's at the mall, where he gets approached for the first time by the T800 and the T1000 at the same time. So that's exactly the type of arcade cabinet that we're talking about, that had the motion simulation that could go up and down and could even turn you. So it was exactly that really one that cool. I played this weekend. So I have to tell you that for a 1988 game, the graphics on this were amazing. Through that, Afterburner was already a very good game considering the high frame rate and the non-stop action. But Galaxy Force was way less animated per se, and it almost gave us an impression of a 3D rendered world. Galaxy Force is a third-person space simulation combat, or space combat simulation, or a rail shooter, whatever you want to call it. We take the control of the spaceship Tri-Z, and we will have to defeat the forces of the Fourth Empire before they take over the galaxy. 6 stages where we have to absolutely destroy everything in our path while using our laser shots or a limited amount of seeking missiles that lock onto enemies. We have the protection of a shield generator that acts as our HP, but on top of that we also have an energy level that will gradually decrease as the level progresses, as well as coming into contact with objects or projectiles. Surprisingly enough, 2 months later after the release of Galaxy Force 2 comes into play, and while many expected a new arcade release from Sega, it was nothing more than an update to the original Galaxy Force with many needed corrections/fixes of the first installment, such as 2 new levels, fixes on the difficulty balance, and added a new feature that allowed players to fire all the 4 missiles at once instead of just one at a time. As per critics at the time, the distinctive feel of Galaxy Force comes to the fact that it felt more of a simulation rather than just a game. Even by looking back at the reviews of this game, Sinclair and Commodore magazines actually praised this as the most mind-blowing game of that time due to its non-stop action and speed. So it was a game that I have to say that I remember seeing it on the arcades back when I was a teenager, but I haven't quite honestly played this game. I mean, I saw it, but I don't know for which reason I never actually went to it. I don't know if it was the age limitation, because I was too small to enter that and the machine actually moved. I don't really know what was the reason for that.
But I imagine you inside and the machine just moving and you being thrown out.
I don't really know why I never played it, but I do remember it. I mean, when I saw obviously images of the game later on, then I remember of seeing it on the arcades. But surprisingly enough, I never played this, so serves as a reminder for those that actually played it. I don't know if you did. I did never played it on an arcade. I actually experienced it for the first time on an arcade a couple days ago, and it was the most absolutely amazing experience, and it's a great game.
That just proves old and moldy games can still give you an amazing experience today.
They do, and we already discussed that. And the reason why we're still here with 1,500 subscribers is exactly because of that,
And talking about arcade games, we should just recommend this again. We already did this before, but just get this book. It's worth every penny. Yeah.
with all the art of the arcade games,
Yeah.
which was, you know, absolutely amazing. But moving on to the next game, Blade, what are we going to talk about today?
Okay, I'm going to make it simpler tonight. There's not much to talk about this game, but I really enjoyed it back then. I'm talking about a PC game back from 1997 called Magic the Gathering.
Ah, okay.
This was just the name of the game. It was Magic the Gathering, and you can imagine what this game is all about, right?
Yeah, it's you know, it's an adaptation of the card game, the famous card game.
Exactly.
That, you could play.
But you could just play the simple card game in a duel, like you would play with someone in real life. But then you had this twist. You had this campaign, like an adventure in an isometric map that you would need to explore. You would find enemies around that would just chase you and, well, duel you. You wouldn't just fight them with something else, would be the card game. And then you had these points to explore where you could just get new cards and improve your deck so you could actually complete the game. So the game was really well done back then because all the mechanics from the card game were just perfect in there. And I mean perfect. I played the card game back then, and I really loved playing this on the PC too. And I mean, it was extremely enjoyable, and the difficulty was just on point there. It wasn't extreme, but it wasn't easy. And even the campaign was well designed, so you would just keep the challenge going even as you improved your deck. And I really recommend that if you get a chance to play this one today, you can ask Uncle Google, he will help you. Just play it, because you will go up till the 6th generation, I think. I think it didn't go past that.
Isn't Magic the Gathering available nowadays? I mean, there's
No,
a lot of newer versions.
There's a newer
of
versions,
Magic
but
the Gathering.
I can tell you, I played the newer versions, and it didn't hook me. This one was just... This campaign mode just added that little extra to make it a lot more interesting than anything you have today on Magic the Gathering. So I still recommend you pick this one up.
Never picked
Somewhere.
up much interest on Magic the Gathering. I do understand, I do know the games, but I never actually picked up much of the interest for card games.
No, I played that, and I played Mage Knight. This one was actually with a few, you know, these figurines, and they had this base that would rotate, and your stats would change as you got hit. And you played this with a measuring tape and dice. It was really cool, and then you could build these huge scenarios.
I did
and
play.
It was really cool.
On the card game side, I did play more recently, you know, Hearthstone from Blizzard, but, you know, I think that's pretty much, you know, the time that I invested on card games, you know, regardless of being on the PC or any other platform. I never had really much of the interest, but I think that the interest of Magic the Gathering, the games, I would believe that it comes also from the fact that people actually play the card game, you know, for real. Yeah. Because I think
that was cool. It was
no, it was. I'm not saying it wasn't. It probably was amazing. I mean, I'm not even diminishing the experience of those people that actually,
I need
you know,
to find my cards. I don't know where they are. I know I kept them.
I never really had that much of interest about card games. But again, it is what it is. It's just my own experience. But I'm going to move to something that I actually do love a lot, and. And you know, we talked about recently in the previous couch episode about, you know, clones of Doom, Wolf 3D that were typically seen using the same engine, different assets, animations, something like that, you know. Yeah. But there's actually a whole new world that we haven't explored yet, which is games that were similar or made intentionally to look like other games. And these are the ones that you would look at them and say, hey man, this really looks like this game or that game. And today we're going to introduce that. We're going to talk about Liz Manley in Search for the King. This was from 1990 and this was for MS-DOS, and it was developed and published by Accolade. So
never heard
the background story, the background, if you're looking at the images right now, you'll understand exactly which game I'm talking about. The background story of Liz Manley is in so many ways recognizable that you would say that he's Larry Laffer's brother. And it could be, quite honestly. I mean, in this hilarious point-and-click adventure that uses a parser-based control scheme or written action commands, as you might want to call it, similarly to the early adventure games of Sierra, we will take on the role of Les Manley, a lowly TV station employee that is looking for a life-changing adventure. The TV station he works for offered $1 million to the one who could find the king, Elvis Presley, and thus the title of the game. In a very Larry Laffer style, our character, being a ladies' man, of course, brags to the secretary at the office that he had done it already, he knew where Elvis Presley was, and he will collect the $1 million easy. Now, Les Manley goes on LA and embarks on this journey that involves deception, disguises, and a lot of missed love opportunities, just like Larry and we were used to seeing his adventures. Now, you would be surprised that despite the critics at the time called this a shameless attempt to copy Sierra's Leisure Suit Larry, they also said that it was actually very good. PC Gamer in 1990 and Computer Gaming World in 1991, Amiga Power, all the magazines that were around at the time, all of them, despite the few shortcomings on the game's control schemes and mechanics, praised the story and the usage of rasterized graphics, along with a few examples of digital video rendering. So there's actually some examples where we can see that the way people move and so on, they were digitized image samples that were from people at the office, like people that worked at that time in Accolade. Due to its moderate success, Les Manley had a sequel in 1991 called Lost in LA, or called Les Manley Lost in LA, and both of these are available in GOG as a bundle for roughly €8. Now, I have to tell you that I did not finish this game. I did play just a little bit of it back then, but then later on I did pick up on this game again because it was really one of those things that I really wanted to see. It's absolutely hilarious. It's a very, very decent point and click. I don't think that people would be disappointed with that. I know people would see the similarities, but it's so good, it's so well done, or at least in my opinion it is.
This one is completely new to me.
It really pays off, and as you know, the critics back then said, and I usually say play it, no, don't go by the critics, but actually they were right. The game itself is very well conceived, and being a shameless copy, because it is. I think Accolade was really coming forward, and they said officially that it was an inspiration, but I think they're really coming forward as a copy. But they made a really good, let's say, copy quote in there, because it wasn't really such a copy. But anyways, it's a great game. €8 for the bundle in GOG. It's totally worth it, and I think you guys should try it if you are a fan of point-and-click adventures. So just take a look at it and give it a go.
And this is
It is a must-try, definitely, and I think that it's really worth it considering the reviews that he had back then. It's a game that, it had moderate success, as I said. It didn't really sell that much, but again, for something that is totally inspired on a very famous series like Leisure Suit Larry, I think it's worth a shot. If you guys liked it, just if you guys like Leisure Suit Larry, take a go at this one because it's really good. So, what about you, Blade? What are you going to bring to bring the mold out? Exactly.
We'll go there in a second, but I have something to show you.
Very well.
We were talking about Magic the Gathering, and I mentioned Mage Knight, and I still have some of the figurines here. See?
I see. Yeah, if you stop moving them so much, I might be able to see.
Yeah, I'll slowly rotate them, okay? So, see?
I gotta tell you, man, I was never a fan of that. I was never a fan of that, of collecting, action figures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Never really was much of a fan.
No, but this game was really cool. And what I was mentioning to you earlier, you see the numbers there.
Yeah.
They actually change when you rotate them like this.
And so that's what, the HP that you have on each one of
the
you?
HP, the damage, the armor, everything's in here. The speed.
Okay.
The speed basically measured how much you could move using the measuring tape.
It sounds like a great concept.
It was really cool.
Sounds like a great concept, but never really was much interested in that. And having said that, there's probably some people in the comments that might have enjoyed that type of games.
This was really cool. I remember I had to drive a few miles with my cousin just to be able to buy these, because these were a rare find in stores. I mean, rare.
Right. Sounds good. So, what sounds good also is that we move to our air freshener moment.
Okay, so let's just remove the mold a bit.
exactly. People are dying to hear about something or listen or see something that they haven't really played before. So go ahead, let us know.
So today I'm going to bring a game I already talked about in one of our Portuguese recommendation videos.
Okay.
But I just think it deserves to be here because this game deserves a lot more attention than it got when it came out, and it still deserves it today. The game I'm going to talk about is from 2014. It came out as an exclusive for the Xbox when the Xbox One was out for a few months, and it's called Sunset Overdrive.
Oh yeah,
And
I know
this
that
game
one.
just deserves the attention.
I know that one. Yeah,
This is already available on the PC since 2018, and you can grab it either on the Microsoft Store, you can play it on Game Pass, you can grab it on Steam, and you can just play it on the Xbox, just buy it or have Game Pass. And I mean, you should really play this one. If you want to know how this game goes, this goes like a zombie game, but it's not zombies, it's monsters. And this town called Sunset City has everyone turning into monsters, well, almost everyone, because they drank this energy drink that was contaminated and they all turned into monsters. So this is the basic plot. And if this rings iZombie in your head, well, it's similar, yeah. If you've seen the series, you know it.
It's a very good like how can I say? It's kind of like a hack and slash game, but
it's way better than that.
With some parkour involved and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, it's not quite.
This game has everything.
It's not the first time we talk about this game here.
No, it's not.
We already have this game as a separate video available on our channel as a recommendation, although in Portuguese.
Yeah.
But it's an excellent game, and I played this game for one simple fact. Back then, when you recommended it, I played it one simple fact to play it in Portuguese just to hear the audio cues that they give and the voice lines.
They're so stupid.
They're so ridiculously stupid. It's so much fun. I mean, the game concept itself, all of it is based around stupidity, which is kind of like the point of it. But it's so great, it's so hilarious, and at the same time, it's very fast-paced, packed with action.
Extremely fast-paced.
Like there's times that you can't even put a step on any platform where you are in the level because there's just people enemies everywhere.
Yeah, and you just need to keep jumping or sliding around. You can't stop.
Definitely.
And what I really loved about this game was that the level of stupidity was epic. And then the audio track on this one was just awesome for the type of game. It was really good. It was this punk rock that was just perfect for this game. And I mean, there's no way you can miss this game. And you will just do a lot of sliding in here, and even on the power cords, you remember sliding with the crowbar. And just shooting with the other hand. It was really cool. And then you have these stupid weapons. I mean, weapons in this game are really stupid. You have this vinyl disc shooter. You have this teddy bear with dynamite shooter. And
you guys,
so stupid, but it's
cool.
Can see and the bosses, the boss fights.
I know that the prices are not, sometimes not representative of the quality of a game, of course. But this is a game that still sells for around 15 euros on Steam. So
it's on Game Pass.
Now, I know it's on Game Pass, but the question is, not everybody might have Game Pass. So that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, it's a game that is still pretty much, I wouldn't say low value. I mean, I would consider something below 10 euros let's say a low value game, let's say. But for you guys that have the Game Pass, enjoy it because it's really, really good. It's an awesome experience and you guys will like it.
Awesome.
For those that don't and they have to buy it, I think it's still an acceptable price.
It's a great game. I mean,
it's
really.
Not exactly. It's not what we usually would say as a a bargain or an indie game bargain. But again, it's really worth it. I think it's worth the money. I didn't pay for it. I actually got a key for the game. So, anyways, but you guys can play it also. You can have it available on Steam. I believe it's also available on other platforms. Yeah, exactly. Take a look at it. And so what you have to just play is our videos. Don't forget to play our videos, and don't forget to leave us a like if you like. Leave us a dislike if you didn't like. Consider subscribing to the channel. We need your help to continue bringing this content. And also don't forget to activate the bell icon so that you get notified whenever we release a new video. And guys, as we usually say, we hope you had a great time with us, with the Old and Mold gang over here. And we'll see each other next week, so game on.
And we left the air fresh at the end, so have fun, have a great week, and we'll see all of you next week. So game on, everyone.